What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to the show. So we're going to continue this series on experts talking about Social Security reform. We have Ms. Henauer. She's going to be talking about Social Security reform and what needs to be done in order to secure Social Security for millions of Americans who are currently receiving it. So we're going to take a look and listen to what she has to say, and then we're going to talk a little bit about it. But first off, if you guys can do me a favor, please like the video, subscribe to the channel, hit that little bell notification, and then click all. By clicking all, you'll get notified anytime we post a video. We do daily videos here, so by clicking the bell notification, clicking all, you should be getting updated every day. And just a reminder, thank you for your support. I really appreciate it. And if you'd like to follow me on Twitter and Threads, you can at the TEC Show Live. Okay, so let's get right over to listen to what she has to say. Here we go.
Thank you very much. Ms. Henauer, you are recognized. Thank you for being here. Your microphone, please.
Thanks. Chairman Whitehouse, Ranking Member Grassley, and members of the committee, thank you for the invitation to testify. I will make two major points today. First, our tax system raises far too little from those with the most. And second, the Medicare and Social Security Fair Share Act would raise needed revenue for Social Security and is extremely well targeted to the very wealthy, raising taxes on just 2% of taxpayers. So first, the United States is a very wealthy country, but income and wealth are increasingly concentrated in the hands of a tiny few. The richest 1% of Americans took in 22% of our country's income in 2020, more than 1 out of every $5, as my first chart shows. Income inequality within that top 1% is even greater, and wealth inequality is worse still. Just 1/4% of households own nearly 1 in every $3 in this country. Despite these riches, we fail to deliver many of the basics to keep our families and communities strong. Taxes are one of the most powerful tools to rein in growing inequality while raising resources for shared needs, including Social Security and Medicare. Our economy is possible because of what taxes pay for, from schools to roads to financial systems. It is only reasonable that we ask the wealthy people who benefit most to pay into the society that makes that economy possible. In the middle of the last century, corporate tax rates, estate tax rates, and top income tax rates were much higher. But policymakers cut all three, all in ways that exacerbate inequality and reduce our ability to meet our obligations and stay solvent. We ran surpluses from 1998 to 2001 and were on course to fully keep pace with rising spending from the baby boomers retiring. But the Bush tax cuts, their bipartisan extensions, and the Trump tax cuts reversed that trajectory and created deficits every year since. Policymakers cut the corporate tax rates from over 50% in the 1950s to just 21% today, and enabled more businesses to organize as pass-through entities to completely avoid that tax. Policymakers cut the top individual income tax rate to 37%, less than half its former rate. And policymakers have cut the estate tax dramatically, so today an heir can inherit $24 million from his parents completely tax-free and can inherit still more tax-free through use of trusts. In short, we have directed repeated tax cuts toward the nation's most privileged. By contrast, as my next chart shows, policymakers have increased the Social Security tax, already a regressive tax, and made it more regressive by letting more earnings creep above the earnings cap. This means an increasing portion of our government is funded by a tax that poor and middle-income families pay more of, and I do have a third chart demonstrating that. So my second major point, the Medicare and Social Security Fair Share Act would require the richest Americans to pay taxes on nearly all of their income to fund these programs, just as most middle-class Americans already do. It does this by applying the Social Security tax to earned income over $400,000, increasing the top rate of the Medicare tax, and treating investment income of the richest Americans the same as their earnings from work. Finally, the bill would close the infamous Gingrich-Edwards loophole, which allows certain wealthy business owners to claim that their profits are neither investment income, subject to the investment tax, nor earned income, subject to the earnings tax. The bill would raise taxes on just 2% of taxpayers. Virtually all of those would be within the richest 5%, and 93% of the total increase would be paid by the richest 1% alone, households with average annual income over $2.5 million a year. I'll conclude by saying Social Security has been a major triumph of American policy. Before its establishment, many elderly Americans were in abject poverty. This vital part of our social contract represents a promise we've made to Americans' working families that you will pay in, and in return, you will be supported with dignity in retirement or in disability. Today's proposal would raise more from the very wealthiest, keep benefits intact, and shore up Social Security and Medicare for the next 75 years. Other proposals out there instead cut benefits, further cut taxes on the wealthy and corporations, and weaken our social contract. These are the two competing visions. In one, we increase inequality and do less to make America a good place to work and retire. The other, as in the legislation being discussed today, makes modest reforms to better tax those who are taking a larger share of our wealth and income and reinforces an essential pillar of our promise to Americans. Thank you.
Okay, so that was Ms. Hanauer, and let's go ahead and check out her website here. So she works for the Institute on Taxation and Economic Policy, and she is the executive director. And so, like always, I will post a link in the comments. It'll be pinned to the very top so you can check out her website and see what policies they support. But you saw the main thing that she was talking about. The main thing she was talking about is raising taxes. Okay, now this is something that needs to happen. It's either going to be raising taxes to benefit Social Security, or it's going to be cutting Social Security. Those are the only two options that we have right now. You hear these politicians try to get around this by saying, we'll just raise the full retirement age, but you need to do more than just raising the full retirement age if that's something that you're going to do. Now, raising the full retirement age, that is a cut to Social Security, and that's going to mean that a lot of people who want to receive Social Security at a certain time, they're going to have to wait, and they might have to wait 2 or 3 years longer in order to retire as a result of raising the full retirement age. So it is a cut. That means that you're going to receive Social Security benefits for a shorter period of time, which means you're going to receive less. Now, as I was saying, you're either going to raise taxes or you're going to cut Social Security. You're going to have other cuts that are going to have to come out of Social Security in order to prolong the program. And so it's very, very simple. Ms. Hanauer was saying that she supports Senator Whitehouse's proposal when it comes to raising the cap on people making $400,000 or more. Now, the reason that it's $400,000 or more and not the $160,200, because if we're looking at it, $160,200, anyone making more than that no longer has to pay into the payroll tax. But what they're doing is they're going to have a little gap in between, and so they're going to move it up to $400,000. The reason why Senator Whitehouse moved it up to $400,000 is because President Biden has indicated he is not going to sign a bill that raises taxes on anyone making $400,000 or less. And so that's why they had to raise that up. So raising the cap, that is an option. That's something that we've been hearing a lot about. Raising the payroll tax as a whole, that's another option. That will secure Social Security. These are both secure Social Security. However, if you raise the payroll tax across the board for everyone who's currently working, you're going to have extra money. And with that extra money, you could probably provide some type of an increase for Social Security. And so that's what makes that option enticing. Now, Senator Bernie Sanders, he also has a plan to raise the cap, but instead of $400,000, he wants it to be people making $250,000 or more. And that would provide an increase of $200 per month for every person receiving Social Security benefits. And so we're going to have to see how this all plays out. But bottom line is there's only two options: raise taxes or make cuts to Social Security. I want to know what you guys think, so let me know in the comments below. If you like this video, please give me a thumbs up. Please subscribe for more, and I'll talk to you in the next one. Bye.